I'm kind of concerned. I'm just a little concerned. Obviously, the stuff that's going on with the Charlie Kirk situation is enough to make anybody frustrated, but I want to show you guys something from a fan artist, specifically because of where that fan artist is, well, located. And I think that y'all will understand pretty quickly. Now, if any of you are fans of my Magic the Gathering channel, then you know that I've been bouncing between avatars on that channel quite a bit. Well, there is one project that is being worked on right now by Remixon, who is the creator of my original VTuber avatar. As of right now, this is artwork that is being used so that I can have a static channel avatar to edit with on that channel. Now, I'm gonna scroll up a little bit so you guys can see the other variants of the character, which are not currently clothed yet or complete, but they are all what is going to be there on the channel, and it's going to look great when it is done. Now, I'm showing you that because I am worried. I am worried about my artist because she's in Poland. And if you want to know why that matters, it's because Poland just had a drone over it from Russia. And, yeah. So let's take a look at what has actually happened, because I have concerns. I have concerns. So according to this article, Putin is testing the West, and Trump's response is not comforting. So there are a few mysteries that remain about the Russian drones that swarmed around Poland's skies on Wednesday night. But a few things are all but certain. None of them are pleasant. First, it's worth noting that the incident involving 19 drones flying over Poland during a 7-hour span was not an armed attack. Evidence from the debris, most of the drones were shot down, indicates that they were Gerbera models, designed for surveillance or as decoys. That is, they are used to either shoot aerial videos of targets on the ground or to prod Ukrainians or their allies to turn on their radar and mobilize air defenses, so that Russia can track precisely how those systems operate, or gauge whether those countries' air forces react at all. Still, the drones could have been armed. Now, I'm going to pause for a second here and say that that is scary as shit. That is very, very scary. 19 drones from a country that has shown that they will lie about whether or not they will invade your country, and has been willing multiple times to invade sovereign countries around them. They've done it with Crimea, they've done it with Ukraine, and given that many Ukrainian refugees fled to Poland when the war with Ukraine started, it makes way more sense to me that Poland would be another area that Russia would look at attacking. Bragwin says it felt like Russia was probing defenses. That's what it looks like to me as well, but I'm not a military expert. I don't have the expertise to comment on this other than a passing analysis. Now, the article goes on to say that still the drones could have been armed. Their model types aren't immediately distinguishable, so Poland and its allies had to respond as if they were, which could have triggered miscalculations and escalated tensions on both sides. In any event, a Russian weapon crossing into Polish territory is an inherently aggressive act, whatever the weapon's capabilities. It should not matter when you are a country that is known for invading the other countries around it. The first thought anybody is going to have when they see your shit coming by is that you are trying to invade. Period. This all leads to a critical question. Was this overflight deliberate? There have been occasions where a Russian drone aimed at a target in western Ukraine has drifted off course into Poland, but it is extremely unlikely for this to happen 19 times in one night. At least some of these drones, it's unclear from reports on how many, were launched from Belarus, which is much closer to both western Ukraine and eastern Poland. Belarusian officials say the drones flew off course as a result of Ukrainian jamming, which could be another explanation, but it's also unlikely. Again, I am willing when a country is actively involved in harming other countries around them. I am more likely going to assume that this country is going to engage in further invasive acts. Period. End of story. That's it. A spokeswoman for Russia's foreign ministry dismissed the whole incident, of course she would, as an invention of NATO propaganda, claiming that if drones did fly over Poland on Wednesday, none of them were Russian, which is also extremely unlikely. No one else in the area would have Russian-designed drones. Trump's reaction was at least as disturbing in a different way. What's with Russia violating Poland's airspace with drones? He posted on social media. Here we go. Why is... The rest of this article is for Stat Plus members? No, it's not. No, it's not. Click a 2 button solves that problem. A better question might be, what's with Trump wincing in puzzlement over every act of aggression that Putin commits? The answers to both questions are clear. Putin thinks that he can win the war. He doesn't care how many Ukrainians or Russian conscripts or imported North Korean soldiers get killed in the process. He doesn't think Ukraine is a legitimately independent country and is, more than ever, testing to what extent or whether the West will at all respond to this shit if he steps up his offenses. When the first words out of Trump's mouth are, what? Why would he do that? Why would a dude who's known for being a KGB agent engage in espionage? Why would a dude who's known for invading other sovereign countries invade a sovereign country? Why would he do that? I do not understand. Why? Instead of that response, having a response that is closer to saying, it does not matter what you do, Poland is a NATO ally, and if we see you on NATO soil again, you will be fought with the full power of NATO. That would be a far stronger response, in my eyes. Perfectly Flawed says Trump still thinks Putin has respect for him and why that's why he's still so surprised every time. Yeah, because he thinks that Putin actually likes him. Putin plays Trump like a fiddle. Trump doesn't grasp any of this. He still believes that Putin respects him, when in fact every Russian rejection of serious ceasefire talks, every Russian bombing of a Ukrainian hospital or school or apartment building, and now Russia's violation of Poland airspace, constitutes a sign of Putin's blatant disrespect or even contempt for the American president. Last month, on the same night that it mounted one of its largest airstrikes in this 3.5-year war, firing more than 570 drones and 50 missiles in a single barrage, Russia also launched 2 cruise missiles at an American electronics factory in western Ukraine, far away from any battlefield or any military supply line. Trump said nothing and did nothing in response. Why should Putin have believed there would be any response to flying a few handfuls of unarmed drones over the eastern slice of Poland? As it happened, there was something of a response to this incursion. Polish and Dutch fighter jets took to the sky, shooting down most of the drones. Then, Poland invoked Article 4 of the North Atlantic Treaty, the founding document of the NATO alliance. Under Article 4, NATO members will consult together whenever any of them believe their political independence or security is threatened. Sirva says Russia does to the U.S. what they did to Poland in the 18th century. Yeah. Spooky Mop them. Thank you for resubscribing. Perfectly Flawed says, I think the Putin impersonator that gets sent to meet with him is polite to him. An Article 4 consultation could be the prelude to invoking Article 5, under which the allies agree that an attack on any one of them is tantamount to an attack on them all. Article 4 doesn't necessarily lead to a discussion of Article 5, and, by the way, invoking Article 5 doesn't necessarily mean the alliance goes to war, only that it will assist the party or parties so attacked, taking such actions as it deems necessary, including the use of an armed force. So what that basically means is, if Poland were to look at this as an attack and Poland were to ramp up its defenses, the United States, as an example country, or Germany, as an example country, would send whatever aid they felt was necessary. That could be munitions, that could be rations, that could be any number of supplies, but it could also be armed infantry. It could also be establishing new bases in these areas. It could be any of these things. Twink Destroyer says, VTube booba geopolitics. Yes, you are in fact on that side of the internet. Welcome to the weird area, where we talk about weird things on the internet. Trace James says, we should be ready to fight. We have a Department of War now, not just defense. Yeah, you'd think that Trump, who was willing to declare war on fucking Chicago, would, you know, at least think a little bit more about how we should be responding to Russia. Also, hello, Twink Destroyer 69. I fucking love your name. That said, merely invoking Article 4 is far from a casual matter. Over the course of NATO's 76-year history, it has happened just 7 times before, all of them since 2003, all but one since 2012. All of the requests for consultation came from Turkey, citing concerns about attacks by Syria until February 2022. The most recent incident until this week, when 8 of NATO's newest members, all of them former subjects of the Soviet Union's Warsaw Pact, including Poland, raised concerns about Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. None of these incidents sparked action under Article 5. The only time that article has been invoked was after the September 11th terrorist attack, when, in a reversal of what had always been expected, NATO allies pledged to come to the aid of the United States. This week's drone crisis marks the first time that Article 4 has been invoked in response to a Russian violation of a NATO member's sovereign space. That is what makes this incident so serious, and why NATO must mount a serious response beyond merely invoking Article 4. The response shouldn't be extreme. It wasn't an armed attack. No one was killed. No hostile troops trampled Polish land, or whatever, and whatever NATO does, it shouldn't spark a spiral of escalation. But NATO should deal some sort of blow to Putin's interests. It must send a clear, tangible message to Putin that he can't keep ratcheting up his incursions and getting away with it. The blow probably won't pack a punch unless Trump signs on to it, unless he finally realizes that Putin has been stringing him along and has no desire for peace, and that Trump's hopes of a Washington-Moscow alliance are a pure fantasy. Local fun police, if you're a twink and someone named Twink Destroyer shows up, does that count as a hate crime? Says no, it means you should hide. Okay, but hear me out. Twink Destroyer, local fun police, what if one of you is the twink who wants to be destroyed, and the Twink Destroyer shows up? Do you run and hide, or do you go to the store to get lubricant? Like, I'm just trying to figure out which one of these you're actually going to be doing. What? Did you say true twinks go raw? Twink Destroyer literally just did hashtag no lube raw. They get it? Is it really a destruction if it slides right in? Fucking hell. No lube, just spit on it. Spit changes the flavor. Anyway, Putin has become more adventurous in his attacks since the summit with Trump last month in Alaska. Trump's God, I know how to say this word, but reading it sucks, so I'm not gonna read it. Trump's obsequious. Man, fuck, I hate how you know what? No, we're gonna do this. What's up? Obsequience. Obsequiousness. Fucking hell. Why is that so hard to read? What is wrong with me? It's like Worcestershire, yeah. It's like Asmarana Mardica to Kultakar. Easy to say phonetically. Hard as fuck to read. Not a thing that Yu-Gi-Oh players do. I actually watched, in Iowa, I watched a Magic player fail to read his opponent's commander that didn't protect itself and only protect other cards. And when I commented on that, he did say, well, I do play Yu-Gi-Oh also, so... I was like, ha! I didn't even have to make the joke! You got it! Yu-Gi-Oh players can't read! Anyway, Trump welcoming the Kremlin war criminal on a red carpet, smiling and letting him speak first and volubly at the press conference afterwards, shaking his hand and smiling, even though Putin rejected any notion of a ceasefire, which Trump had previously demanded that the summit produce, or else. There was no ceasefire, no agreement of any sort. The summit was cut short. Even a prepared lunch was canceled because there was nothing more to talk about. Yet, Trump imposed no consequences, even tried to depict the meeting as a great success. Perfectly Flawed says, I wonder if that's the same Magic player I saw yesterday sad about Charlie. I doubt it. I doubt it. Was it at the shop that I don't want to name for doxing reasons? I sincerely doubt because the person that I was playing was Hispanic. I know that there's a non-zero chance that that person would have been upset about Charlie Kirk passing, but I hope that that's not the case. Oh, wait, did he have a large tattoo on his right arm? Okay, different person then. Different person. Thank fuck. Different person. Anyway, anywho, there are two ways this war could end. One is if Ukraine, in essence, surrenders. The other is if Putin calculates that he can't win. The latter scenario probably won't happen unless the United States steps up its assistance to Ukraine. The Europeans are doing more. The Ukrainians themselves are doing more, but the US can provide a unique and vital asset: real-time intelligence data and air defense weapons that can shoot down ballistic missiles. Trump has gone back and forth in suspending, then resuming, then suspending this aid. The night of the drones makes it clearer than ever that the time has come for Trump to pick a side. Naki Bree, no, I didn't visit the birthplace of Captain Kirk, but as far as I know, the actual birthplace of Captain Kirk is Utah, because that's where Kirk was capped. Badumch. Tristan says, no, I play elves and therefore I'm racist against goblins? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Cinder says slivers are good and fun. I appreciate you being incorrect in my chat. That's entirely okay. Night of the Living Drones. Anyway, that's scary as shit to me. The idea that not only is the shit that's been happening in Ukraine continuing to happen, and our president fucking blows ass at actually holding Putin accountable for any of the shit that he's done, but it scares me knowing that a friend of mine who has contributed to the lifeblood of this channel, of my career, could also be threatened by this shit. That's a scary fucking thought. I want to know what y'all's thoughts are in the comment section below. Where I'm sitting right now, this shit is terrifying. And honestly, we should be spending as many resources as we can, as many spoons as we can, trying to get our president to take the Russian threat far more seriously. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.